real life, they could pass a new law, which actually might happen since if you've been following the news. Okay, so major budget problems all along, but in 2011, they were...
I want you to think about the programs. What does it mean to cut these programs? What does it look like?
There were about 19 million veterans in the U.S. In 2015.
I know that the transportation could obviously be improved, and what everyone has said is completely true, but I don't know if it's worth putting it up there.
We might just need to reallocate it because maybe it's not being used properly or it could be being used better.
I thought it was going to be much easier, definitely. I thought it was going to be something that we could all work out. I thought people would share my beliefs. Obviously, people had different beliefs. In the news, I read a lot about how certain things that the government does is ineffective and not working, so I thought that it would be easy to take away those things that might not be working for people or reallocating funds, and I realized that just monetarily that didn't really work out. When you hear $10 billion cut, you're okay, $10 billion cut, but then when you realize that a certain amount of people are going to lose health insurance or won't have access to clean water, for example, and just seeing that manifest in chip form was really frightening.
I do think, the lower end of categories like energy and agriculture need more chips. I came in thinking that, of course we were going to learn important things, but it was going to be boring and it wasn't going to be a lot of fact-based, which is the opposite of what I think now. When you're cutting from a category and you don't necessarily get the funding from that category, you don't think that it will have, a drastic effect on the nation, but it will.
$4 billion.
I think you should change your mindset in which you define as boring, because a lot of these categories affect us on a day-to-day basis and we don't know.
Can I ask a question?
You sure can.
Okay.
Everyone lives in their bubble and they come together and they're hearing points of view that they don't generally hear in their daily lives.
We took $10 billion out of the $2 billion in highways, and our justification is that it's pretty much that there's more important topics to be spending on.
Okay, highways, don't worry about the potholes, don't worry about the bridges falling down. There are more important things.
Yeah.
By pushing them, they're beginning to see, okay, it's not just, oh, we're going to cut from conservation efforts. What does it mean if there are streams that are being polluted near someone's home?
And that we don't really need to make more aircrafts when there's nothing wrong with the ones we have now.
That's to federally subsidized health.
If you do this, it's going to hurt these people in this way and these people in these ways, and that there are people behind the numbers, and that's really important to consider.